Boom. Here we go. Peace to the family. Baragani. Ujamaa. Collective work. Not collective work. Collective economics. For today's principle, Kwanzaa. And man, I told you we're gonna be doing it. We getting ready for the 2022. And by far, I will tell you honestly that we do have, with Reality Speaks, Survivors Nation, we got like the largest archives in the country. You know what I mean? So far as DVDs and audio, video, we've probably put on more events, more information, informative events than anyone throughout the country. Almost any time I could say that we did. But how y'all feeling? How y'all feeling out there tonight? Man, look, I got these archives, Reality Speaks archives, and we wait for people to come on in. I want y'all to come on in because I tapped deep into the archives, man. I went back to 1997. We got this one from 1997. So, y'all, anybody joining in? I don't know where you're joining in from, but we want y'all to share, tell people that we on. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna set it off, set it off a little bit, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna play the video. I'm gonna skip through some of the beginning. We're gonna get to the video with Dr. Shaka Musa Barashango. Talk about that in a few minutes. We're gonna do that. So man, we want y'all to to come on in and join. Come on in and join on in. Give y'all a few more minutes to get some more folks up in. But like I said, share it, tell people. And then look, I want y'all to do too, y'all to go to the YouTube page. Go to the YouTube page and make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you like, and please make sure that you comment. Y'all gonna help us build, like y'all did in Baltimore and Tubman City with this Reality Speaks lecture series. So we need y'all to help us build this platform that we have. Subscribers, we should be up, a couple thousand subscribers like for the next couple weeks, for real. You know what I'm saying? Peace, sister. How you feeling? I was gonna tell you, I think that you are on this. I think you on here actually. As we skip through, I think that you are on here. So I'll let you know. I think you did speak on here. But peace to everybody that's coming in. Cool. So you from Baltimore, and I'm pronouncing your name Mazazi. So peace to you, and thanks for coming out. You miss B-More, you miss Tubman City. Yeah, but yeah, man. Peace, Baba Olatunji, and I'm pretty sure that you was in the building. You was there at the very, very first lecture that we ever had. So peace to you, Baba. Thanks for coming out. You know what I'm saying? And we trying to get people to share the link, that YouTube link. Oh, okay. Tafari's mom. What's up, Tafari's mom? How you feeling? So how y'all been out there? How's Tafari doing? I haven't heard from him in a while. But definitely good to thanks for tuning in. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah. So man, it's Kwanzaa time, and I know we can't all be together. We wanted to be able to put more events and stuff together in the 2022, but hopefully we'll be able to do some stuff. If not, we'll be over the internet and until we actually can. You know what I'm saying? So hey, it's all good. You know what I mean? Star, what's going on? How you feeling? Yeah, I know. Don't worry, we're gonna get these lectures back live soon. I know people want to get in, want to feel the vibe and all those different things, but yeah, man, the vibe is beautiful. And I don't know if he was coming back then 1997. But this is at Dunbar. This is at Dunbar High School that we actually did this at. Tafari's great. Okay. Well, tell him I asked about him. Okay. Cool. All right. So for those people that's joining in, of course, we've been, Reality Speaks been doing this for 26 years. Next year we'll be heading towards 27 years, almost 30 years of information for inspiration for the purpose of elevation. So, we just hope that that y'all just help us to build this up and get the word out so that we can be effective online. It's been a little slow, but we haven't been real consistent with it But I got these archives that I'm sitting on. I got these bombs that I'm sitting on. And you know, everybody through the internet, if you search, been loading up Reality Speak stuff for years, making money from our stuff for years. And you know, now we just reclaiming our own stuff and stamping our own stuff. Because if you look through the internet, like you said, you'll see our lectures all through there. So when y'all see this Reality Speaks logo up in your upper right hand corner, you know what I'm saying, you know that, you know what I'm saying, it's stamped Reality Speaks or Bonded by the Blade, whichever one that we put up there, you know what I'm saying. So you know, we appreciate y'all for many years support. So what we're gonna do is Kwanzaa time again, you know what I mean, y'all. We do need to come together, pull together, make this thing happen. We got some trying times in our community, but we got to keep on going no matter what. We got to keep on fighting no matter what. We got to keep it going. So also we have the link in this. Also, when you go back to YouTube, the Patreon link. So you want to join our Patreon page if you can. Get on there, and you know, because we'll play most of this lecture. But but we'll have some of it still left on a Patreon. We did Gregory yesterday, and we put most of that lecture. We put a good portion of that lecture on there. But the Patreon page is where you're gonna have videos and all that you won't get here on YouTube, or you won't be able to see those different things. Certain things we can't put on Facebook, copyright. They say copyright or whatever. But you know what I mean, certain things you can go to our Patreon page, just you know, and get away with that a little bit more. So you know, become a Patreon member. Also, for those, you know what I'm saying, y'all see the support down the bottom, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean, drop a little something, you know what I mean, 5 or we were trying to collect 1317. Y'all know we joined with Reflection Eternal Barbershop, Conscious Heads. We opening up a side over West. This year we're gonna create another like over 20 something jobs in Baltimore. I mean, that's, to me, that's big, you know, me creating 20 something more jobs in the community. We'll be training people, you know what I mean, people like probably up in the hundreds, you know what I'm saying, between barbering, between natural hair, between braiding. We got all of those workshops that's coming up soon. You know, not workshops, actually courses that we actually had that's gonna be coming up starting in January. So you know, we just trying to, you know, give to our people and give back to our community. So you know, somebody interested in hair care, you know, those different fields, you can make a whole lot of money. You can make a whole lot of money doing this, you know, if you apply yourself right and correctly. So we appreciate y'all. We got a bill past $13.17. So you know, we tell people, like, you know, if you can, to that Cash App, you know what I mean, drop a 1317 in that joint, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you want to help us keep continuing to build here, you know what I'm saying, with Reality Speaks. All right. So what we gonna do, since it's Kwanzaa time, ancestor roots, we talking about like our people, ancestor roots. And you know, when we first started doing our lectures, this was probably about our third lecture, I think, that we actually did. And the group Ancestor Roots in Baltimore, they would, you know, they found us when we were young. I was 19 when I started, you know, and so they would come to every event that we had, all our events. And when they come to the events, they would drum and they would open up and they would do the African pledge and they would do dance and they would open up and give us the correct vibe. So we want to say rest in peace, you know what I'm saying, and the remnant ancestors, the Mama Lola. We appreciate Mama Lola for all she's done for Reality Speaks, for Tubman City, for Baltimore in general. So Mama Lola, may your spirit rest easy. Baba Tunji, we went to his homegoing service yesterday, who's a legend in Baltimore City. All these people, we're gonna make a legendary wall in Conscious Heads and Conscious Reflections. We're gonna make a legendary wall for all our legends and all our great heroes and sheroes that we have. Baba Ross Marcus, you know what I'm saying, who's been sick for a while, you know, and still hanging in there. And a lot of soldiers that was here, you know what I'm saying, like that's there are not here anymore, you know. So we appreciate this. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna get to this Kwanzaa vibe, but I'm just gonna show you them, you know, opening up, you know what I'm saying. And right before we start, we'll skip through a little bit, and then we're gonna get into the message with Dr. Shaka Musa Barashango, who was one of my very first teachers within this whole movement. And I can remember I was a young man working at Everyone's Place, and I remember when Dr. Barashango came in there after I had already been reading and studying, and he came up them steps, man, you would have thought I just met Jay-Z or something like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, Dr. Barashango, oh my goodness, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And you know, so it was like it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing. So, you know, so what we're gonna do, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna let you see some of the cultural thing, you know what I mean, as we open this up. So let's go ahead and bring it up right now. Ancestor roots, historical, legendary in Tubman City, Baltimore. One day we're gonna write a book about all of this stuff. Put niggas, people don't know half of the history of Baltimore, Tubman City, and this whole conscious movement, black cultural Baltimore. So one day we're gonna do a book about this whole thing, man, because it's been an experience. So let's cue it up. Y'all can see they in there, man. They getting off up in that joint. But they used to do this at every lecture that we had. You know what I'm saying, early on, because it was about them supporting the young, passing the torch to younger people that was coming up. Yeah, getting it.
I feel good about all the people around me. I feel goodness flowing all around me. And it will follow 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 me. For the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. For the rest of my life.
For the rest of my life.
For the rest of my life.
For the rest of my life.
I walk with good.
And I walk with good.
And I talk with good.
And I talk with good.
And I am good.
And I am good.
That feels real good.
And that feels real good.
Good, better, best.
Good, better, best.
Never let it rest.
Never let it rest.
If you're good, be better.
If you're good as you better.
You better be best.
That is your best.
African people.
African people.
African people.
African people.
African people. You were once great. You were once great. You are still great. You are still great. You shall be great again. You shall be great again. Lose not faith.
Lose not faith.
Lose not courage. Lose not courage. Go forward. Go forward. Go forward. Go forward. Go forward. Go forward. Uplift the race. Uplift the race. Come on. Uplift the race. All right. Uplift the race. Let's do it this way. It must be done.
Ask that everyone, first of all, from the back, come
Uh-oh,
forward.
who is
Please.
that?
Come as close as you can. Let's get
Brother
together.
Kamal. Somebody
Let's get
tag,
in unity.
somebody
Let's get rid of
tag Brother Kamal in this right here so he can see itself
beginning
right
with
quick.
us moving forward.
Dakota, tag Kamal so he can see this. Let me see what tag.
All right. How's everyone doing today? All right. As Brother Baba Ross Marcus often says, we have now created an African village. Whenever African people get together to discuss matters that concern themselves with the African world, this is what we must do. And I remember hearing Baba Ross Marcus speak a few years ago, and ever since then I've taken that as my way of introducing anything when I speak. Because we must get into the mindset that we have to transform everything that touches our lives, whether it be where we work, whether it be in our own homes, or whether it be where we gather to celebrate or commemorate, or even to educate ourselves. We must transform those places into places that are conducive to us. So this is now no longer the Paul Laurence Dunbar Auditorium, though that's an African deity too, so that would be proper. But we can transform any place that we are into an African village. So this is now the African village of Reality Speaks today, brothers and sisters, because that is what will happen here. But let's again have a round of applause for our ancestors' roots. All right, let me take a second to introduce myself. My name is Brother Kamal Kwabena. I'm with the African World Study Group, and the brothers of Reality Speak have asked me to, the brothers and sisters of Reality Speak, so let me stop. I won't be able to leave here today if I don't mention the sisters as well, have asked me to open this ceremony today by pouring libation, or tambiko. And when we pour libation, we're getting into that same spirit as the drum coming. We're making this place conducive to us. We're asking that our ancestors come and be present here with us today. So just as the drum fills the rhythm, it fills the void in our hearts and in our souls. It allows us to contact subconsciously with where we come from. We know that sometimes we don't know what it is about us, and we got rhythm, and we can dance, and we can move, and we can sing, and those other folks don't have that same rhythm. That's your God connection to the Creator. So the drums have allowed us to feel at home. They've allowed us to feel at peace and to feel comfortable and to feel like we are in an environment conducive to us. So now we continue with that by pouring libation or tambiko. And what we do here is we pour water into the plant, or it could be into a bowl, or it could be onto the ground, however you see. And we use this water, one of
I'm leaving this part up here.
God's most precious gifts. We know that in other planets it may exist as a gas or as an ice.
Leaving some of this cultural stuff in here because it is Kwanzaa. It is Kwanzaa. So I'm leaving this up here so that, we can have a little cultural something going on, since a lot of us haven't been able to get out for Kwanzaa and those different things. All right. So that's why we're going to let the libation and stuff go.
But only here on this earth, in this solar system, does water exist in this liquid state. So this is the most precious element from the Creator. And we pour this into the plant, symbolizing that cycle of life. And when we pour into the plant, we call on the names of the ancestors, whose energy we want present here today. If I said Malcolm X, Malcolm X's mindset comes to your mindset. You begin to manifest the energy that Malcolm X lived in his lifetime, so therefore the ancestor is present here with us today. If I call upon the name of Elijah Muhammad, he becomes present with you, or Marcus Garvey, or any of our ancestors, be they divine ancestors or ancestors present in your life. So we call the names of the ancestors whose energies we want present here today, whose spirit we want present here today. So we call that energy as we pour the water into the plant, and we respond with the Yoruba word Ashe, which means so be it, or you can say Amen, or whatever word of power you choose to invoke to call upon the spirit of the ancestor. And when we pour this libation, we try and tap into that power that we want present here with us today. So I'm going to ask that if you all could please stand as we call our ancestors to be present here with us. As in all African tradition, customs, and places, we pour the first libation to that which brought us here, the universal Mother, Father, God, known to all by many names. Ashe, We pour this to the divine creator, which has brought us all into being. We pour this to the universal force which allows us to keep up the revolutionary struggle. Call those whom you want to invoke today. Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe. Ashe. Ashe. You got Ashe. Ashe. Kwame Nkrumah. Ashe. Ashe. Queen Nzinga. Ashe. Ashe. Jomo Kenyatta. Ashe. 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 Paul Lawrence Dunbar. Ashe. 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 We pour this last libation as we begin to the universal Mother, Father, God, known to all by many names. Amen. As the Ra, Yahweh, Allah, or whatever deity you choose to call. Ashe. All right.
By the way, it's a nice piece, Kamal. It's a nice shirt you got on there. Nice vest, man. Yeah, real nice. All right, let's keep it going, y'all. Who is next? Whoa. Hold on.
Sister here, Malika.
And what y'all not about to do is laugh at me and trip out. That is me coming up here. A whole lot of pounds lighter, but y'all not about to laugh at me. 1997, y'all. All right. So we gonna go ahead and look at Brother Jabari, young Brother Jabari coming up. Y'all better not laugh at me though.
And they form Reality Speaks. And that's what all of us have to do. However it fits into our lifestyles, we must begin to turn everything that touches our lives into an instrument of liberation, as Dr. Clark says. And so I'm going to leave here by bringing on Brother Jabari. He comes to us in the spirit of Tutmosis III. He comes to us in the spirit of Queen Yaa Asantewaa. He comes to us in the spirit of Denmark Vesey. He comes to us in the spirit of Malcolm X. And in his namesake of Jabari Muata Nat Turner, he comes to us in the spirit of Brother Nat Turner. Let's play him.
Gee, well, need me.
Hotep, how y'all feeling today? All right, is everybody pumped up? Yes, sir. Y'all ready for round two? All right, today, Dr. Barashango, one man will take on 5 European holidays. Can y'all say
that? So it was a 2-day event. So the first day was Brother Baba Ashraf Kwesi was the first day. So it was Truth versus European holidays. First day was Ashraf Kwesi, and the second day, the second day was Dr. Barashango. So I just want to let y'all know what that was. Back then, 1997. Let me stop pausing because
that's right. One man in a guerrilla warfare. That's right. Give him a hand. Give Dr. Barashango a hand. Yeah. First, I gotta say something that the Creator's putting on me. Like what a lot of people were saying about Reality Speaks, that we was trying to take the fun away from Christmas and all this for the children. I mean, they would say, Brother Jabari, excuse me. It would say, Brother Jabari, why do you want to do that to the children? Didn't you used to celebrate Christmas and all? And I would say back to them, if I was young and I used to smoke a crack pipe and it made me feel good, would I turn around and get that to my children? That's the same thing. European holidays is no different than a crack pipe. You need to teach your children to say no. Say no to European holidays. I ain't gonna hold it up no longer. I'm gonna bring up our referee for the night, Brother Universal. Bring him up.
Y'all laugh at me. Y'all better laugh at you. Y'all better laugh at Brother Cindy.
Excuse me. Let me bring up Sister Barashango to give you an update on the Mumia Abu Jamal case.
This is Dr. Barashango's wife at the time. I'm just gonna kind of move it up a little bit because this is about Mumia during the time and about his case. So we'll still speed it up a little bit. Yeah, we'll still speed it up a little something. Now, here you go.
If you've been thinking about it, don't think about it anymore. Do something. Thank you.
Let's get a sister another round of applause.
Man, look at Brother Cindy. Y'all laugh at me. I gotta laugh at him.
It's a serious matter. This matter is no joke. Keep that in mind. I'm your referee for the night. As you see, the opponent is too scared to show up.
Never understood those black gloves that he wore.
We still gonna introduce that punk butt. In the wrong corner, we have the arch deceiver, slimeball perpetrator, snake of the world. The snake crawls so crookedly that it's hard to keep track of his path without a keen eye. He comes as an angel of light, only to plunge your lives into darkness and gloom, slavery and suffering. He's the murderer. Or he's a thief, a murderer, and he is dangerous, brothers and sisters. Hold on your seats, because he might steal you again. The many times disputed arch enemy of the creator and the natural universe, the European, Caucasus Mountain dweller, cannibal, dead animal eating, wet chicken smelling, Indian killing, African killing, impotent, infertile, disease infested, pale-faced white man. Boo, boo, boo him. Don't give him no love. He gets no love. He gets no love.
That's right.
Check. Yes. But in the right corner, we have upholding the weight of 6 sextillion tons, the weight of our affectionate planet Earth. He has a reach so far and deep that when he throws a jab, he penetrates the force field of falsehood that is around your mind. With uppercuts, with the power to take your mind off a low beastly level, up into the higher realms of consciousness. He has produced works such as African Woman, the original guardian angel, African Genesis, God, the Bible, and the Black Man's Destiny, African People, European Holidays, and the Mental Genocide, Book 1 and 2. He hails out of Richard Allen City, misnomer Philadelphia, PA. He's the undisputable. Many have tried, but none have defeated. Champion of the world, our warrior and friend of the people, Brother Ishaka Musa Barashango. Let's get ready to rumble! Yes, sir. Let's get ready to rumble.
Now, just want to say, as Dr. Barashango makes his way to the stage, that again, this is one of my first teachers, historian, African Woman, the original guardian angel, African People, European Holidays, Book 1 and 2. I think it's historical facts of the Bible, God, the Bible, and the Black Man's Destiny. So you want to look up his stuff. His stuff is on Amazon. His stuff is still African Genesis. Great scholar, and one of the best. He was one of the best speakers that we had from Reality Speaks, because he had that kind of preacher background also, but he was a historian at the same time. So really love and respect this brother. And again, make sure that y'all share this, make sure that you subscribe, and we're gonna let this thing play. come back, and then we're gonna play the next part. Let it roll through, and then we come back and have a little discussion. I know some people might be mad because I put this African people versus European. This is brother Jabari right here, and that young brother Jabari, y'all see this brother Jabari that's a little older. He a little more chilled out. That young brother Jabari, that the one in the 20s, y'all. Some people will tell you he wasn't no joke. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't cut no cards, he ain't cut no corners. You know what I'm saying? Brother Jabari in his 40s, a lot more polite, you know what I'm saying? But that one back then, yeah, he was a little live. So hope y'all enjoy. We're gonna play this, and you know what I mean, and stay and watch. You know what I'm saying? We here watching this together, and we'll come back if y'all want to have a little conversation about it. You would, and don't forget to support the show. You know what I mean? Subscribe and donate a little something here and there. All right, so here we go, y'all. Y'all enjoy.
Peace be unto you, my beloved brothers and sisters. Sounds like throwdown time to me. What you say, Brother Eli, that's that throwdown talk I'll deal with tonight. First of all, I want to give honor and respect to our Creator, revealed to all and known by many names, which is the source of our power and victory in any encounter, in any battle, in any struggle. I want to give thanks to our ancestors, our positive ancestors, who are legion. For if it were not for them, we would not be here to continue this fight that has been going on for so long with the devils of this planet, the demons of this planet. And in honor of them, especially those who put their life on the line, those who actually gave their lives for this cause throughout the years, I would say in the words of the last poets, blessed are those who struggle. Oppression is worse than the grave. It is better to live and die for a noble cause than to live and die a slave. So it is in their honor that I submit this tonight. I want to thank the brothers and sisters from Reality Speaks. I like that. Reality Speaks, because we seem to have a difficult time dealing with reality today in the world. Back often, I want to run away from reality. Seems like we want to laugh and play our way through this thing. And as Dr. Clark has once said, that great grand scholar of scholars, we either have to put race first and take our survival and liberation seriously, or we will cease to exist as a race. We will go out of business as a race. So we can't laugh and play this thing all the time. Now, I like to laugh and play just like anybody else. I like to have some fun. But you can't play all the time. There is the business, the very serious business of life. And so I like that reality speaks. And we have to stand still and listen to reality and not be overwhelmed by reality. To know that there is a power in the universe that created us first to represent it on this planet, and therefore that power, when we reconnect with it, can enable us to deal with any reality that we find ourselves confronted with. So if we no longer fear reality but face reality, we will be victorious in reality. And not only be survivors, but once again obtain power. So I want to thank Brother Jabari, who has called me 1,000 times on this. Brother Universal, the referee tonight. Sister Tekoa, and is it Sister Malika? And I want to thank all of you, all of the brothers and sisters who participated in this, helped them bring this about. You know, you may not realize what it takes to put on a program like this. You may not realize what kind of sacrifices people have to make. So they have to be really dedicated young men and women like this, who could be out jamming and partying tonight, decided to give their time and their resources so that this information can come to you. And I think they're worthy of your applause tonight. I know they are worthy of your support in every way. Tonight, before we get into our topic, I need to mention to you, usually I have to do what I call a black nationalist commercial, because we're not brought to you by any of the rich niggas on the planet. They don't invest in these kind. We certainly not brought to you by any rich white folks and don't want to be, because we don't want to be owned by anyone. We're brought to you by the auspices of the work and dedication and commitment we have as warrior scholars to this, through the works we produce in writing and through our lectures and in other things. And it is only through your participation in that process, in short, bringing it right down front. It's only when you buy what we produce that we're able to continue to produce it. So I know so many of you here have brought my tapes and books. I know today, whatever weight I have in poundage is responsible for the beans you have put in the pot. And I thank you very much, and my family thanks you. And I ask you to continue to do that. And so I brought with me, I don't have any books, but I do have tapes tonight. And I hope that you will visit the table. And I do have my special signing pen, my blessed signing pen, that is ready to sign your tapes for you. So I invite you to do that. Much of what I want to cover tonight on this topic of the holidays, several of the holidays I will not be able to go into in detail, but I do go into them on the tape. So I'll be looking to meet with you there at the end of this lecture at the table. Thank you for your patience in this matter and for your support. Now let's get on with, let me get my eyes out here now, and let's get on with our discussion for tonight, which is holidays from the perspective of an African-centered reality. Now, I don't know just exactly how I'm going to approach this subject tonight, because you know I'm part teacher, part preacher, part brother from the street. So I don't know how it's going to come out, but we're going to let the spirit and the ancestors move with us. Is that all right with you?
Yes, it is, right. We're going to bring the mic a little closer.
And I want to share with you as much information as I can in the period of time we have together. Now, we're talking about holidays from the perspective of an African-centered reality. This subject I have discussed so often, I have gotten tired of talking about it. But obviously, there's still a need to discuss it. Just like people are still overwhelmed by the idea that Jesus was a black man. I thought we had settled this 30 years ago. But it's still a fantastic thing today. In fact, my book I'm working on now is The Real Jesus Was a Black Man. And I thought we had settled it. I thought everybody knew that. But then I've also had some other information I'm putting in there that I will discuss as we go on. But we're talking about this, and it's difficult because, as Brother Jabari said, folks think you're trying to take their pleasure away from them. You're taking my fun away from me. Y'all are just, you're just killjoys. You want to take everything. What we gonna have if we don't give these white folks this money? Misgiving and extra, what we gonna do if we don't buy these clothes on Easter? Jesus gonna be mad with us. It's the wonderful, good feeling you get from it. Brother Jabari used the example, you can get a good feeling from crack. Ask a crack addict. That's why they do it. Make them feel good. But what does it do to their life? You can get a good feeling from a prostitute where you take all your money you got and give it to her for one night, and that's it. You ain't got nothing else. And that's what you do on these holidays when you give white folks money you ain't even got. Money you haven't even received yet for a good feeling. You're doing the same thing as a junkie or somebody out in the street tricking with a prostitute. It's the same thing. I know you don't like to hear that, but you see these gray hairs, I don't care no more. I'm not trying to get along with you anymore. I love you. I want you to love me. I want you to be my friend. I want to be your friend. I'd like to be popular with every black person in the world, but I have found in these 58 years that that just ain't possible. So I don't care, but I love. And I have to speak what is called that tough love tonight. So you may get angry with me. I might not sell no tapes, baby. You got gas money for We're going to talk about holidays from an African-centered perspective. I look at everything from an African-centered perspective, and I'm getting tired of this dumbass question, why everything got to be black? For when you look in the mirror, Negro, what else can it be for you? For white folks, it's very clear. Everything got to be white. Even for black folks, red folks, yellow folks, and everybody else. We the only fools in the world that ask such a question. Why everything gotta be black? Well, look at yourself in the mirror and you'll find out why. And if that don't convince you, if you don't convince yourself that you look like Tom Selleck or somebody, because we can't do that, you know. Be looking so black and pretty, but think we looking like something Clark Gable or something. And if that don't convince you, just the world of reality that you step into when you step out your door. Even with your big-time job and everything, with the glass ceiling and all. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah. Those realities bring it right down front. Why it's got to be black. Has to be black. So I don't just stop at black, African-centered. Everything I look at from an African-centered perspective, which done messed up everything for me. I can't enjoy a movie. My wife don't even like to go to movies with me anymore. We can't watch television anymore. For real. Thank God for the midnight hour. At least we still got that. But you can't enjoy nothing when you have that consciousness because you see exactly what's going on. Everybody else sitting around laughing. Now, we are the only people I know where you can get to laugh at their own insults. You be insulting the hell out of them, they be laughing at them. Well, it's all in fun. It ain't nothing but a joke. No, life is not a joke. Survival is not a joke. But let me stop now, because I know I'm being too serious for you. Historical reality is what we're talking about. And that's what we're going to discuss in these holidays. I am not talking about belief. I don't care about belief. I don't care what you believe. Your belief means nothing to me. Your belief holds no weight with me. I may respect it and your right to believe it, but it is nothing that we can debate. It is a personal, sentimental feeling. It cannot be debated. There is no true religion because you cannot debate it scientifically and logically. It is a matter of what one chooses to believe. So that's one of the things you need to get up off of and stop fighting each other over that.
Teach. Teach.
There is the Creator who is not confused, but we are confused in all these man-made, I said what? Man-made religions. Every one of them made by man. Every one of them. But you tell me it came from God out of heaven, this prophet, this Lord, this, that. Do you know how much blood was shed to make it as an established religion? I know you don't like to hear this, but we are dealing. I'm asking you not to deal emotionally, but to use your brain tonight. Don't run from your brain. It's the best thing you got. You got 10 to 20 billion brain cells, the greatest gift you have ever been given of any other creature on this earth. Don't run from it. And you will not offend God by using it. And yes, question God. He knows everything. And he ain't on no ego trip. You say God can't be questioned because you don't want to be questioned. Your ego can't stand up under question. But the creator of the universe can hang. Ask all the questions you think you need to ask. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir. Oh.
Let me get back to the subject now.
Church tonight.
I'm going to get bold. I'm not just going to take on 5. If time permits, I'm going to take on 6 European holidays. As we call it in the African, some Yagomi. We're going to do. We're going to talk about Columbus Day, an orgy of death and destruction. Halloween, the original night of the living dead. Misgiven Day, a celebration of horrors. Xmas, the merry mess. Easter, the festival of fools. And America's Independence Day, the 4th of July. See if time will permit us to discuss it tonight. There's 5 basic points I want to deal with and I want you to remember before we get into the actual discussion of the holidays themselves. Now, y'all might have to let me know about the time, like my mentor and teacher, Dr. Ben. I don't have time to watch. So you'll have to let me know. First of all, to celebrate holidays is very common for human beings. It's good to celebrate. As a matter of fact, as I study our history, which is my favorite thing to do, I find that in our great high culture science societies that achieved and accomplished more than any societies have ever achieved or are achieving on planet Earth today in harmony with the Creator and humanity, that we spent 1/3 of the year working and 2/3 of the year celebrating. That's why we like to party so much now, but it's out of context. You don't own nothing, you don't control nothing. So you had party as much as you used to. But we want to party all the time. But we love to celebrate. So if you try to take that from African people, you kill them. Because we celebrate. And it's good to celebrate. But there's one thing I noticed about this. There's one thing that concerns me about this. At no time in the history of the world do I remember any people celebrating their own destruction but my people. I don't know anybody else who does this, that celebrates their own destruction. People don't celebrate the wars they lost, they celebrate the wars they won. Number two, the celebration of holidays establishes and helps to maintain a strong emotional, a what? Emotional and cultural bond between you and that which you are celebrating. And I mean, we're emotionally involved in it. It makes you feel so good. And it becomes something that you can't live without anymore, because you're emotionally attached to it, like your soulmate. That bond becomes strong and you can't live without that force anymore. And that's how it is with holidays. So what you're celebrating has to be something that is good and to your best good, or you're being bonded to something that is working against you. Third point, one of the main dangers of European holidays is how they help reinforce the emotional attachment that many of us have to Euro-American culture, that we have to white folks. Black folks love white folks. We'll forgive white folks in a minute for things we will kill each other about in a second. We look for reasons to forgive white folks. And they made us that way on the plantation. They hooked us up because they projected themselves to us as God. And somewhere there's got to be some good in them. And we'll put more energy into trying to find that good for which we have no historical basis whatsoever. And won't last a minute when it comes to working with black folks, to get them on their feet and get them out of their insanity. I just can't deal with it no more. Niggas just get on my nerves. But you'll take a beating, you'll go to jail, you'll bleed, you'll do anything to try to get the white man to act like what he cannot act like. He can't do it. Look at the history of Europe. He couldn't do it with himself. How's he going to do it with the people he fears more than any other people on the planet Earth? Think about that. So it bonds you to Euro-Americans and their institutions, which does not work in our best interest. Now, maybe you can tell me something different and I'll be willing to listen. But is anything that white people have created that works for us, that's good for us? Can you name me anything?
Yes, sir.
Even this so-called educational system is designed to make us Oreo white folks. So, I mean, what is it that they have that's so... I want you to tell me. I've been in this world 58 years. And I want to know, what is it that they have that we just got to have? And I mean, pay the price that we pay for having it. Let them continue to run the world. The ugliest, stupidest, most backward people on the planet run the planet because the people to whom the planet was given has let them take the power and run it. And go along every day as though this is normal, this is natural. And go to church and call out God. God can't hear you because you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. The Creator gave you a planet, you blew it. You fumbled the ball. Now you're not doing what you were put here to do, which is run the planet in righteousness according to the principles of my act and the principles that were given to you from the foundation You'll get the Creator's attention when you stand up like a man and like a woman. Confront this issue. Take on your enemy and know that it's when the Creator's with you, no weapon that is formed against you can prosper. You claim to have all this belief, but you really worshiping the white man, not God. That's who you worship. You'll do anything a white man tell you to do. Anything. You'll be on your job knowing something you ain't supposed to do that is immoral and wrong, but you'll do it because he told you to do it, because he holds your stomach in his hands.
Check.
I ain't mean to go there, but I got to go with the spirit, y'all. 4, European holidays were created for Europeans, not for African people. It was created for white folks. They did not create these holidays for you. They later on found out we can make a lot of money off these stupid niggas if we let them celebrate. It's that simple. It was created for their needs, not our needs. So in celebrating them, you are not serving your own need. You should know that by now, because by the middle of January, you're behind is crying and figure out where you're going to break, scrape, steal, and borrow to get this money from to pay for some stuff that you don't even know why you bought. And I don't understand this thing. Why I got to give you a gift because you gave me a gift? If you were sincere about giving me the gift, I ain't got to give you nothing. And why I got to give you a gift? Thing they call it. I'm trying to get into this, man, but it's taking me a while. Y'all help me now. Y'all pray with me. I don't care what name you pray in, just pray with me. What this thing called Black Friday? Right after Misgiving Day. Yeah. They got you so psyched up. Yeah. You can't even go. My wife went to go to the mall to get what? You go to get something, stockings or something. She couldn't get in nowhere. Black folks got this. They got to give these white folks this money.
The next day.
The next day.
Great.
With the turkey still hanging down, still in the intestine. But they are there, fighting each other and stuff. It's like, I remember as a child, man, it was like a throwdown time with people. And some of them bust each other in the head to get money so they could go in there and give it to this white man so that they can please Jesus. This is so confusing. This is so sick. This is insane.
Absolutely.
So, but everybody's doing it. Then we're living in a massive, humongous sanitarium. In a nut house. One big nut house. And if you were put in a sanitarium, in the Bible, if you were put in a house where people were insane, would you, and knew you didn't belong there, would you say, well, everybody else in here is doing this. There's somebody hanging out the ceiling, there's somebody busting his head against the wall. There's somebody standing on his head on the chair. So, well, everybody else doing something crazy, let me do something crazy too.
Yeah.
That's what you say when you say you got to do these holidays. Everybody else doing it. And then really the one, and I ain't letting you off the hook on that. We do it for the children.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about the children.
We're gonna get there. If I miss it, you help me get back there, all right? 5, most of these European holidays were predicated on their fears. Halloween is the fear of the devil and their dead ancestors. I'm going to talk about that as I go on. Columbus Day, they were fearing the end of the world, so they were going around the world trying to conquer everything and everybody and get everything they could before the end of the world came. That was the state of the mind that these folk took with them. That's why they were so cruel and mean to everybody and everything. Misgiving Day, they were afraid of starving themselves to death. And the red man made a big mistake. We'll talk about that in a minute. Stop calling them people Indians. That's an insult. They are not. It's the indigenous red man, our red brother here. And Xmas was for fear of the devil and the imps getting them on Christmas Eve night. I hope we get a chance to talk about that. But it's on the tape. And Easter was the fear of sin and its punishment by eternal damnation. And the 4th of July was the fear of the loss of control of their black slaves in the slave trade. Now let's move on. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Y'all with me?
Yes, sir.
Now I might have to do a little reading here just to keep myself in line and not get off track.
Do what you got.
Let's deal with the first one now, which is Columbus Day, an orgy of death and destruction. First of all, let me tell you that this man, this Jew from Genoa, Cristobal Colon, was a criminal. Let's get that established. A criminal. That's what he was. He carried the original crime gene to this country with him. He is one of the most despicable characters that have ever lived on the face of this earth, and he opened the way for the transatlantic slave trade. What the hell am I going to celebrate him for? Why am I going to teach my children to celebrate him? He should not be viewed as a hero by our children. And you walk up in the school, any of these schools that be teaching your children this, that you have to pay your taxes for the support of that school. I think you have to do that in Maryland like you do in Pennsylvania and everywhere else. Even if you don't have children in school, you still got to pay taxes to the school. Then you working for me because you taking my money before I see my money. So this is what you teach my children, and this is what you don't teach my children, and especially in a predominantly African community. I don't want no Christopher Columbus being taught to my children as a hero. But it's in the textbook, then you need to get another one. I offer you Dr. Ivan Van Serner. I offer you a host of other scholars whose work is far more credible. But you are not going to teach this to my child, and my child is not going to celebrate any Columbus Day. And you go up to school on the first day when the school opens to get that stuff settled. Y'all scared of the school, ain't you? No. You're not. You must remember, they work for you. Now say this to yourself. They work for me. They work for me. I'm the boss. So I tell them what I want my children to know and nothing. That's what you are as the parent. Oh, they'll try to resist you. The school, boy, the school. We have to vote your butt in there. So we the boss. You take our money to pay for this, we the boss. My child does not salute the American flag. Huh? And they were making children who didn't salute the American flag stand outside the classroom. I say, you do that one more time, I'm going to be a wealthy man, because I'm taking your butt to court and I'm suing the hell out you. Because you are working against their amendment, whatever amendment right that is. They have the right to make the choice here. And do you make Jews in this class salute a swastika? Woo! So how you gonna make me salute a flag that represents a country that enslaved and murdered my people? And it was legal to do it. For hundreds of years here, for almost 200 years it was legal to do it. Even after they banished it, it was still legal in the South and other places to heap this horror on us, and they can still find ways to do it. So I'm gonna salute something that represents my destruction. Y'all still with me? Y'all ain't ready to throw me out of here yet? Let me see if I can show my behind some more of them. In spite of this fact, the textbooks in this country, in spite of the fact that Christopher Colon is a criminal, portray this criminal as an honorable man, and they emulate his holiday annually on October the 12th. Or the nearest Monday now, they've started doing that, which shows that actually money is more important to them than anything else. Mm-hmm. Actually, Europeans didn't feel that strongly about Christopher Colon. They didn't really start celebrating it as a holiday until 300 years after the fact. in October of 1792 is when it happened. But 500 years ago, this invasion on the Western Paradise, as we call it here, because it was not called America and should not be called America, that was an invasion. It wasn't a discovery. It was a criminal invasion on a people, because ever since they landed, the people had been subject to destruction. And you know what happened to us after they got rid of them. You still here?
Yes.
In 1492, we mentioned, Cristobal Colon opened the transatlantic slave trade. He had been in the slave trading business since he was 14 years old. The first voyage he made along the west coast of Mother Akebu land, Misnamet, Africa, was to get slaves to take back to Spain and Portugal to sell them, to get captives, because we were not slaves, we were captives. So he started his career at the tender age of 14 doing this. So this was a regular way of life for him, this man that you celebrate on Columbus Day. And he took 10 Taino, or noble, indigenous people here, and forcibly took them back with him on his return voyage to Spain. This was the first quote-unquote slaves he took from this country. Then Admiral Cristobal Colon instituted a reign of terror. As governor of the island of Hispaniola, became the first South American dictator, was Cristobal Colon. I want you to remember him that way. In 1493, in response to the fact that most of the 1,500 indigenous people he had hunted down and rounded up and sent to Spain to be sold as chattel slavery in the marketplace, they died on the way, thus making his voyage unprofitable. And so he wrote to the King and Queen of Spain. He said, let us, this is in the diary of Cristobal Colon, he said, let us in the name of the Holy Trinity go on sending all of the slaves. This is in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It's written, he wrote it. Let us go on sending all the slaves that can be sold. Then he added, they are so timid and nice. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all, reduce them to servitude, and make them do whatever we want them to do. In my book, African People and European Holidays, A Mental Genocide, book page 32, I'll quote him here. He says, I've traveled many places in the world. I've seen many people in many conditions. He says, but these people here are so tractable, so peaceful are these people, that I swear to your majesties, there is not in the world a better nation. They love their neighbors as themselves. So what did they need with his idea of God? They were already living that. So what did they need with it? They loved their neighbors as themselves, and their discourse is ever sweet and gentle and accompanied with a smile. And though it is true that they're naked, and Europeans felt that anybody that didn't cover their head from head to toe was naked, because they had problems with their body, and when you look at it, you can understand why. And Dr. Wilson goes very heavy into that as to why in the ISIS papers. The one thing that they envy you of is your color, and then turn around and made you think you ugly while they still out there risking skin cancer trying to look like you. This is insanity, believe me. Insanity. And you try to make yourself bleach it off, fry it out, whatever. Let me get the look as white as I can. Let me leave that alone, so sisters be done ran me out of here. Some brothers too. Jerry curls and things, but I love you anyhow. We got to talk straight though. We ain't fooling around no more. We ain't fooling around. If you don't want to do this, go ahead. Keep your head up that white man's behind. Perish with him, but I want these babies to survive and to be victorious. I know a lot of y'all, there ain't no sense in talking to no more. But that's all right. That's all right. I'm going to come out of this victorious. Dead or alive, I want to be victorious. I can't take it no more. It doesn't, this cannot go on any longer. You see it about to fall apart all around you. And you keep following up behind this sucker. Blind leading the blind. They love their neighbors as themselves, and their discourse is ever sweet and gentle, and accompanied with a smile, and though it is true they are naked, yet their manners are decorous and praiseworthy. And then he goes on to recommend that these friendly and hospitable people be made to work and sow and do all that is necessary to adopt our ways. White folks ain't happy unless they making folks do what they want them to do. That's not a man. Stop calling him the man. Stop calling him the man. You the man. You the man, brother man. You the woman, sister lady. Stop calling him the man and her Miss Ann. They're children. An unruly child wants to make everybody do its will. An adult doesn't act that way. So you're dealing with a child and calling it a man. No wonder you can't come out of the childhood stage. No wonder you're still laughing and singing and gay popping and playing it all the time. In that same year, Columbus also escalated the payment of heavy taxes and imposed upon every man, woman, and child over 14 years of age. He issued an ultimatum compelling them to bring him 1 ounce of gold dust every 3 months or to have their hands chopped off. Upon witnessing this horrific punishment, a lot of the people said, hey, I can't get no ounce of gold every 3 months. And I've seen my neighbors who couldn't get their hands chopped off. I'm skying up. I'm splitting. I'm getting on up out of here. So they went up in the mountains. And what did they do? Columbus took troops with Irish wolfhounds. And one of the things that sold in the marketplace of the settlement of Isabella on the island of Hispaniola for a high price was the flesh of the indigenous red man, and it was sold as food for the dogs, so that the dogs would get an appetite for human flesh. And they took those dogs up in those hills and they hunted those people down. Those who were not fortunate enough to get away, they would split their stomach open with Toledo steel blades, chop them up, and feed them to the dogs. These people ain't have nothing to celebrate about his coming. Nothing at all. And neither do you and I. First of all, I don't want to be identified with that, because the one thing that life will teach you, if you don't learn anything else, that the law of karma is an immutable law. And what does our people say? What goes around comes around. White man gonna get his. I don't want to be identified with that. I want the Lord to be able to clearly distinguish. I ain't had nothing to do with it. I ain't in there. Wasn't me, Lord. I was a victim. My ancestors were a victim. Also, during that same year, Columbus went to surrounding villages demanding that the chiefs turn over the young women and the young boys to become sex slaves for his crew. I want you to think about that. I want you to understand. Look, I may not get to it all tonight, but what I'm going to share with you, I'm going to share with you. You're talking about a people who had been on a ship, and these ships were floating cesspools. There was feces and urine all over the ship. There was maggots and flies all over the ship. They hadn't washed in over, it took 60 days to make the trip. They had lice all on them. They had all kind of diseases, and here they were jumping in somebody's woman. That had to be horrible. People of color around the world were known for their bathing, especially African people. They were the cleanest people on this earth. That must have been a horrible thing to have this nasty, slimy, nothing creature up on top of you. And that's the one thing they wanted to do. Jump on somebody's woman. I don't understand no black woman ever going with a white man, or black man ever going with a white woman. Love? No, color. Shut up. You don't know nothing about love. Because you first got to love yourself before you can love anybody else. And if you love yourself, you are not going to go with the descendant of your enemy. You're not going to do that. Plus, you break down your own energy power within you. Being black is not just skin deep. Shut up, you dumb Negroes. Color is only skin deep. You don't know nothing about science. You don't know the science of melanin. Why we are this color and they are not. And that all they can do is take energy from your cosmic battery and not give it. So you wonder why when you get hooked up with them, you get cancer and all kind of other stuff. I'm talking science here. But I'm gonna leave that alone a minute. By 1494, because of the enforced, what kind of? Sexual activity. Didn't nobody want these white folks? They stunk. In your movies, they have you thinking that all these women of color around the world want to be with the romantic white man. No, they didn't. They forced themselves on people. Nobody want to be bothered with that. If you don't think so, get on the bus with a bunch of when it's raining. You know what I'm talking about? Am I just being mean? Now, I don't know about you, but it's got to be smell good for me to, you know. If the smell turns you on, you need to visit one of our African-centered behavioral scientists and let them work with your head for a little bit. Maybe you need your olfactory glands operated on or something. Because of this enforced sexual activity by the Europeans, syphilis spread like wildfire. They said, well, when we got here, the Indians already had syphilis, but what bothered them even if they had it? It didn't bother them, even if it was here, but there's no proof of that. But once your nasty behind got here, it became a problem. And I keep people saying it was nasty. They still nasty if you ain't cleaning their house. And those of you who have to go up in their house to clean them know how nasty they are. Ask your grandmother who had to go out there and clean their house and wash their clothes and all that stuff just to keep food on the table. She'll tell you how nasty they are. I ain't got time to play with this. Well, you know, there's some good white folks. So what? It doesn't change my condition. If you that good, I got the answer for you to prove it. Manifest it. Don't tell me about it. Show me that you love me. Do what Jerusalem Slim said do. Y'all know who Jerusalem Slim is. I know you know that. Jerusalem Slim say, go sell all that you have. Did he say it? That's what the preacher said. And it's in the New Testament gospel. Go sell everything you got. Didn't leave nothing, everything, and give it to the poor. And then you can get into the kingdom. You can't say, shit, I ain't gonna do that. So he's pardon my French. I say this to white folks, you love me? Good, show me. Sell everything you got. And give me what belonged to me, because you wouldn't have drawers on your behind if it wasn't what was taken from my ancestors. Get my reparations, get my money. Be a man, pay your bill. You always telling me I ain't no man because I don't pay my phone bill or something. Pay your bill and I can pay mine. Biggest bill that's ever been created. Give me my 40 acres in a mill, which is about $300,000. You ain't never got to worry about Shakamusa no more. I'm gonna turn that money over. I know, but I might let him slide for that, because I can take that $300,000 and I can whack it. Yeah. Because I know some brilliant brothers, all they need is some money. And they can work it. I take it to a good African nation. There's a few that ain't controlled by those Europeans, and I'll work that money. I'll be a billionaire in a couple of years, and I'll come back with an army that, man, I'm telling you. The reception of Columbus' arrival on these people was so devastating that they began to jump off the mountain to commit suicide. These women were saying, before I let that stinking nasty thing get in me, I'll die. They were jumping off the sides of mountains like they did at Palmares in Brazil. After having 60-some years of freedom and an independent nation, the Portuguese, because white man can't stand for black folks to be free. He can't stand it. So why do you think he's gonna give you freedom? He can't deal with you being free. And he kept going after those people, and when he did finally conquer those people, they said, oh, he did finally defeat them in battle. They said, you are not gonna put us back in slavery. We've been free for 60 years. Kiss my behind. Jumped off the side of the mountain. That's how strong freedom was to them. So that's what the red man did. A lot of them committed suicide. It was an estimated 125,000 of them who did this, were either killed or committed suicide during Columbus' 2-year governorship on the island of Hispaniola in 2 years. I'm trying to tell you what kind of people you were dealing with here. And I've asked the question over and over again, and I'll continue to ask it. Will you please tell me what did white people bring to anybody in this world that they needed? They brought Jesus. We had Jesus. All the ancient images that the Pope bows down to with Jesus is Africa. And his mama, we had Jesus. They had to bring us Jesus. And that was too high a price to pay for Jesus or anything else. And I asked the other question. I will continue to ask the question. And I welcome somebody to stand up and set me right if I'm wrong. Can you tell me anywhere on this earth that white people have ever gone that they haven't brought destruction to the indigenous people who lived there? So this ain't got nothing to do with racism. This ain't got nothing to do with hatred. This has to do with historical reality. Now, how the hell am I going to trust somebody who has conducted themselves that way? But there were some good ones. They couldn't stop the bad ones. So what good were they? What good are they? Oh, I'll work with them to help them fight their own. Go ahead, yeah. Help me fight for my brother-in-law Mumia's life here. And I ain't gonna be so thankful to you because you do what you're supposed to do. You're trying to get yourself right with God because your people messed up. And what's the Bible say? You know it. Unto the 3rd and 4th generation you're responsible for that sin. Doesn't it say that?
Yes, sir. What it said.
So they still respond, and they will stand up and tell you, well, I didn't do it, my ancestors do it. How much money you got in your pocket, sucker? You own a house? Give me the deed to it. Give me your car. Because right now you're telling a bare-faced lie, and I want you to be able to tell the truth. I want to make a good person out of you. Give me everything you got, and then you can say you didn't do it. The cruel policies initiated by Christopher Colon and carried forth by a succession of explorer bandits. They were exploiters, not explorers. They were bandits, they were criminals. Every one of them, Cortez, Pizarro, all of them committed crimes and genocide against people when they came here. The Aztec people in Mexico had books and volumes upon volumes of knowledge, very similar to the knowledge from the Nile Valley in Africa. The white man say this ain't God knowledge and burnt the books up. He went to Atahualpa, the great emperor, and was reading from the book, the holy book of the Catholic Church, the prayers, and the man said, this don't mean nothing to me. What you saying? He got mad with him, unless you accept this book and accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you're a demon, you're going to hell. And they ordered the man to be executed. Now, if you got God, you ain't got to kill me to introduce me to God. Islam too, set the Islam or die. Why you got to kill me? They introduced me to God. Anybody that comes to us with that, they ain't talking about no God, they talking about themselves. They're talking about their own ego. Y'all still there? Yes, sir. Within 25 years, the conquistadors and all the others had committed such a total genocide against the indigenous inhabitants in the Caribbean islands, red and the black people that were there when Christopher Colon arrived, that they had become extinct in the islands within 25 years. 25. This is what you celebrate when you celebrate Columbus Day. When they first arrived, there was over 125 million people here. Now there are a few million, maybe. One time it was down to what, about 600,000 or 700,000. So you know they didn't have nothing to celebrate about it. And I ask you, what do we have to celebrate in it? Now let's see if we can deal with here for a while. I don't know how much time I got left, y'all, but like I tell you, I got to move with the spirit. Trying to stay with my notes and be disciplined. Halloween, the original night of the living dead. You want to talk about that or you want to move on? You sure now? You just being nice. Okay. Halloween means all holy evening, or as you say, Holy Sun evening. And the sun was very important to them up there in Europe that didn't get much at the time. It was the eve of All Saints' Day, November the 1st, and it was October the 31st, was the Druidic New Year. There was a group called the Druids who was supposed to be practicing the knowledge that came out of the Nile Valley in ancient Kemet, which they would now misnomer Egypt, but anything that the white man gets his hands on, he has a way of demonizing it or turning it around. We never see things the same way, and you wonder why you can go in a meeting with white folks, sit down, use the same language, and come out with a different idea of what occurred. Because you don't see things the same way. You don't feel things the same way. But you come out with tears in your eyes. Well, yes, they did commit some crimes against us, and they did shoot the young man in the back of the head, but we talked with the governor about it. We talked with the mayor about it, and we believe that something will be done because they said that they believed in peace and justice too, and we said we believed in peace and justice. And that's all it is. And we stand out there crying about it because we believe in that stuff. It's our nature. Peace and justice don't mean the same thing to him. Peace means as long as you do it my way. Justice means just us. That's what it means. I have to keep checking on you that you're all right because I have been put out of places. On this, the Druidic New Year, you got my back, Brother Eli.
We got your back, brother.
They said that at this time, the earth would open up and the dead and demons would come out of the earth. This is how their New Year went. You got to understand the psyche of these people. I study European history very carefully. I know who I'm talking about. I ain't trying to get along with these people because I know what I'm dealing with. I know their history. And I know even when they try to do right, they can't. So I ain't getting caught up in that trap on the outside chance that the ones that are trying to do right may do right. I can't take that risk. There's too much at stake. I'll work with you if I can. Treat you like a human being as long as you treat me. I don't want to eat with you. I don't want to party with you. And I damn sure don't want your woman.
Cheers.
And you better not be looking cross-eyed at mine. In ancient Britain and Ireland, this Celtic New Year was called Samhain, S-A-M-B-A-I-N. At the end of summer, they would have these huge bonfires on the hilltops to frighten away evil spirits. These people lived in fear. One of the things you have to understand about Caucasian thinking, about Eurocentric thinking, is that its primary motivation, let's get into a little behavioral science here now. Its primary motivation is fear. Read your Bible. What does it say? Fear God. Why would I fear my Creator? The cat that wrote that mistranslated the book, put it in the context of his own worldview, which was fear. A God-fearing man. What kind of fool are you? If you fear anything, I don't want to bother with you, because we get in a crisis, you're going to come up short. It was believed that on this sinister and eerie night, ghosts, witches, goblins, black cats, fairies, demons of hell roamed about the land, and the souls of the dead revisited their homes. Now, you know, we always, like our brother did, pour a libation before we have any type of gathering and invite our ancestors to be with us, don't we? Right. We want our ancestors with us. We're not afraid of our folks who have passed on and crossed over, because Africans in their right mind don't know nothing about no death. We don't experience death.
Yes, sir. Talk about it.
We have the last rite of passage, a transition from one level of, white folks may die, because, I mean, their energy ain't plugged into nothing. It's not a part of the original energy that was here on the earth for millions of years. It's a strange energy that rose out of a catastrophic happening on the earth. The last glacial period, the last ice age, these strange creatures come up. So they might fear death. I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't be sure of my stuff either. But we ain't like that. Well, we shouldn't be. Yes, we're sad when they pass on because you miss them, and we know how to grieve just like we know how to rejoice. But we welcome them. Europeans did not want their ancestors to come back to their house. So on the 31st, when the ground opened up and the dead came out, people got to putting on masks and costumes because they were trying to be something else. They didn't want their dead ancestors to recognize them. They put jack-o'-lanterns out there to frighten them away and goggles on their church. I thought Jesus could keep the evil spirit away. But no, they put goggles on the church to keep the evil. And y'all out here buying some of these churches, white folks out with goggles on them and wonder why you're having all these negative things happening around. You know, bought up into some witchcraft and stuff. And so when the ancestors, the dead, would come back to them, they would tell them, give me something to eat, or I'll burn your house down, or I'll do you harm. And that's where trick-or-treat came from. And here you got your babies out here begging somebody for candy and telling them trick or treat. Don't know why you're doing this dumb stuff. Teaching them to be beggars, something you can go buy for them, and what right do they have to tell a person, if you don't give me something, I'm gonna do something bad to your property or to you? Check that out. What right do they have to do? And it's gotten so bad, you know it's dangerous, fool, that you go out with them now. But you gotta do it. I'm asking you why? Why do you have to do it? Ask yourself, why do you have to do it? That's more money you got to put out on these different costumes and things. Well, we're gonna make it black. Somebody can go out dressed as Malcolm. Man, Malcolm was a serious man. I'm gonna be bothered with that foolishness. And in Europe, it was the one day out of the year that the people consulted Satan for advice.
That's right.
There was no distinguishing between Satan and God. None of that stuff is clear as you think it is now. With these white born-again preachers now, they seem to have some clear definition. They didn't have that in Europe. It was all, they feared the devil and God and all of it. What they feared was the aristocracy. Okay, let me tell you where I got that from, since you don't want to listen to me. White folks wrote this in the Encyclopedia Britannica, published in 1990, volume 5, page 646.
Check.
Because, you know, I know you take the white man word. During the 16th, as late as the 16th century, on this night, people would gather in church graveyards, dig up graves, put the skulls around in a circle, and dance around them, trying to keep the evil spirits and the living dead from coming after them. This is in the church graveyard now. Where'd I get that from? Another white man, Dr. Basil Davison. in the book African Empires, published by Time Light Books. Now, Halloween celebrations were introduced in the United States in the late 1800s by Irish immigrants and hooligans who put their accentuation on trick-or-treat vandalism. That's weird, because it got nothing to do with you. Got nothing to do with you. And you got nothing to do with it. Take that money and invest it in something, will you please, since you don't know what to do with your money? If you took all this money you spent at Xmas time and on these holidays and invested it in just a CD, you'd be better off. But if you invested it in your community and building up your community, if groups got together and invested it in their communities and in the business in your community, you'd be like, I might lose my money. You done lost it when you done gave it to these white folks.
That's right, that's right.
You ain't gonna see it no more. And these Koreans, they ain't gonna give it back to you. Can you give me a job? No, nigga, we downsizing. The gnomes, elves, brownies, and fairies of European mythology were actually the Skrallings. That's S-K-R-A-L-I-N-G-S of Scandinavia. That's what they were called. They were wise and technically advanced Twa people from Africa who lived in many parts of ancient Europe. Don Luke, Early African Presence in Early Europe, page 222, is where we get that from. The Europeans had such a dread and fear of this little black man's superior knowledge that it caused them to be regarded as magical and mystical beings. Those of you who are familiar with opera and the words of Richard Wagner, the ring cycle is about these little black men who had made this ring, this magic ring. That's what it's all about. Our knowledge was feared and always has been feared by white folks. They fear us more than anything else on this earth. Check. Dr. Wilson pointed out their greatest fear is the fear of genetic annihilation. And they fear the black man because he has the payload of melanin that is the greatest on the planet to implant within the womb of the black woman. And we are still, even in our depressed condition, very fecundant, to use the sign. We have a lot of babies. Now let's deal with the black cat a minute. I'm trying to get through all these holidays, but just let me finish on Halloween. I'll get to the others, all right? Just briefly touch on it. What is the black cat that y'all be about to break your neck? I've seen people hurt themselves. Running from something that is actually a part of your culture. What does the black cat represent? It is the symbol of the Kemetan, or Nile Valley, Misnamic Egyptian, female cat-headed deity called Basteti, or Obasti. And she was the guardian angel of the hearth and home and a symbol of good luck, not bad luck. What did I write in book 2 of African People in European Holidays and Genocide? The irreconcilable, the Barashango theory of irreconcilable opposites. What is good for them is bad for us. What is good for us is bad for them. So you have no meeting ground.
Check.
There. Everything that they have ever encountered of ours, they have taken it and turned it to something evil and demonized. This black cat was also associated with the Nubian lioness war goddess Sekhmet, whom they call the Sphinx, who was held in great affection by the general populace of the Nile Valley because she was said to guard the entrance to their holy land in the ancient world. Adoration of this original African deity was probably brought to the British by the Roman legions, who were very in love with the place they conquered. They conquered it militarily, it conquered them psychically. They called it Egypt, it was ancient Kemet. And then it was incorporated into Druidic mythology. I don't have time to really go into background on the Druids. I do cover it in the book, some of it in African People and European Holidays, A Mental Genocide, book 1 and book 2. The black cat was a favorite house pet of Druid priestesses And that's how it became a symbol of evil and bad luck, because they were in direct competition with European Christian mythology. And I want to put emphasis on the word Christian mythology, because what Europeans taught us about Jesus has nothing to do with historical reality. It is mythological. And you is believing in mythological stuff and talking about all this good it's doing for you and building all these churches in your communities, and the community continues to go down. Where is the power of it? That's all I'm asking you. I'm not picking on your religion, your belief system. Where is the power in it? If it's all that bad and all as wonderful as you say it is, how come our communities remain in the same condition? Come these dumb behind chicken licking, pork chop eating preachers are leading the forefront of economic revival in our community, instead of just going for themselves. And you love your preacher too. You want him to be the best dressed? My pastor. That's your pimp. And he's pimping you just as much in there as a low-down, dirty Negro would be pimping a woman out on the street. That's right. But it's all right, because he's doing it in the name of Jesus. I know you don't like this, but you got to wake up.
Tell the truth, brother.
Our children ain't hearing this no more.
That's right.
All the young people done left the church. You keep telling them stupid stuff that don't make sense to them. And when you're asking a question, when they ask you a question, you can't question God. Now you know that don't make sense to a child. You just told me God knows everything. Now you tell me I can't answer nothing. I better take you to Reverend Hoopenholler. The pastor, sweet man. Pastor, talk to my child. I think he got the devil in him. He asked some questions about Jesus and about he a atheist. He a heathen. Well, you see, young man, and the young man will throw some questions on that preacher that boggle his mind. Because these Negroes know a few Bible texts and then they become heavy in the word. Can quote a few texts and make you holler. Some of them even, I don't understand why somebody that could make himself very plain and clear to farmers, to fishermen, to the everyday populace in his day, Jesus ben Joseph, or Yusuf ben Yusuf, or Yeshua is his correct name in Hebrew, ben Yusuf, could make himself so very plain to the people that you got to go to a seminary now to figure out what the hell he was talking about. And you have to expostulate on the text to make it plain. And you all keep asking, make it plain, Reverend. Make it plain, because you don't understand a damn thing he says. Okay, let me get on with it now. Let's deal with the witches a minute. The witches is directly related to the fact that the wisest of all women in the world at one time were black women. The knowledge of astronomy, the knowledge of agriculture, the science of agriculture, the science of mathematics, all these sciences were brought into the world by African women. Read my book, African Woman, the Original Guardian Angel, and I document that, and I also have it on the tape out there, Black Woman, Queen Mother of the Universe. And white women who were taught by black women were wiser than white men. And in medieval Europe, white women were feared for their knowledge. It was also feared because they could do something that white men could not do, that white men really wanted to do. And that is they could have babies. And this is something that a white man has always wanted to do. That's why in England now they've come up with a way of interjecting the embryo up into the anus so that it will catch onto the side of the intestines and the man can have a baby. The white boys are something, man. Yeah, I mean, they're doing that in England. White man want to have a baby. Black man ain't never want to have sister, we worship you for having it. We applaud you. The first idea of God on earth was Mother God, because anybody can go through this, gotta be God.
That's right.
The white man say, I want it all, I want to do it. And since I don't have the power, then I will control you in the child. I can buy and sell you at will, but that's another subject unto itself. And any woman that could outthink a white man was called a cunning woman or a witch, which most white women could at that time. King James I of England, the Bible man, the one responsible for your Bible, the unadulterated word of God, because I have to ask y'all when you come to me, do you believe in the Bible? Which one? The Bible, which one? And then you bring it out, and I said, oh, you're talking about the King James version, the authorized version. If King James authorized it, whose Bible is it? His or God's? The faggot who went with boys, girls, anything, north, south, east, and west.
That's right.
Whatever his pleasure was, preference young boys. Oh, read Will Durant's Story of Civilization. A white man will give you that background. Well, the Bible man was a witch-fearing fanatic. He subject, a witch hunt was subject to break out at any time in England. And when the pilgrims left there, when they were run out of there by James, what did they do when they got here? The witch burnings in Salem.
Same thing.
Women who knew how to cure with herbs and all that kind of stuff, man, they was witches. You sisters run around here with all them herbs and what's that, golden seal and all that. They'll burnt your butt up. They were obsessed with it. And then there was the legend that witches could turn themselves into black cats. We know what the black cat represents, right? And this came about because of the long association of cats with women. And the cats were associated with women, as were many animals, because they were generally the protectors of animals, because they were into agricultural science and not killing the animal. That's how that came about. Now, the witch's broomstick. I think this is one of the last things on Halloween. You still with me? Yes, sir. Am I holding you too long? All right. Now, the broomstick is an indoor domestic implement for cleaning the house, and has always been a symbol of woman, because the house means mother. That's what the word house in ancient Kemetic language means. Mother. Because the house was the extension of a woman's womb. That's why the first houses were built in the round, not in the square. White folks came up with the idea of square houses. We built round houses because it was an extension of heaven. And you know you don't want to get me started on that. And you know Dr. Bill was my teacher. And we know where heaven is. This brother must know where heaven is too. That baby swinging off of it. I know where it is. Lord, and I'm so glad. And I love to be born again. And I'm very spiritual about it. I come in a state of reverence and praise to worship at the throne of grace. And I love to pray along. Brother Kwame Ture said, you got to bring something to get something. You understand what I'm saying, brother? Yeah. You dealing with the divine temple of the universe, so when you come ready to stay with you. I'm through with that now. It should be remembered that cleanliness and implements used for house cleaning were considered to be evil by medieval Europeans of the Middle Ages. They were evil. Wherein an African, if you came into their house and they felt that you brought a negative vibe, and now I know y'all, now I want you to raise your hand because I know y'all know about this, would throw salt around and sweep it out the door. How many know about that? I know you did. Europeans say don't sweep the dirt out or you sweep up the good luck. Let me tell you what white folks I got that from. The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Mythology, Religion, and the Unknown. Volume 2, page 351. You can find it in the library. The tradition that associated smart women with witches and with flying broomsticks probably evolved from the fact that many female rites of passage ceremonies that had to be done in secret used brooms in their ritual dances. And that's where they got this thing about them flying around on brooms. Now, vampires and werewolves, I got to deal with this. I thought I was finished without it. Ow! Herodotus, the father of the writing for the first European to write European history, because he wasn't even the first to write European history. People have been writing history. What do you think those things are in those temples in the Nile Valley? That's history written on those columns. So people have been writing history thousands of years before Herodotus out of Greece came along and was allowed in the black man's land. So when they teach you that the Greeks started writing history, they did not. There's no Greek philosophy either. It is non-existent. But he says that the Scythians, who were the great progenitors of the European peoples, Caucasian European peoples, said that they were the youngest nation on earth. And when the Scythians went to war, according to that scholar Joel A. Rogers in his book From Superman to Man, they went to war buck naked in black capes. And the first person they felled in battle, they bit them in the neck and sucked blood out of them. And the Greeks went to battle with the helmet, a shield, and a black cape, buck naked. I can't fight with them niggas. In my young days, when I was wild, be caught in some place where I had no business being, I couldn't fight till I got the mess whipped out of me till I could get my pants on. Then I could do go wild. But these white folks were fighting buck naked. And why? Because the first person they felled in battle, they committed a homosexual act with him. That was total conquest.
That was the goal. Very tight.
So when we go to prison, we don't do that. Not conscious African people don't do that. You go to prison, you shut down. You get spiritual. You take control of yourself. Because the one doing it to the one is just as much as a faggot of the one they're doing it to. And how you get any pleasure out of that? Ain't nothing can replace a black woman. Nothing. And now they done got to joking about it. Anything that you can joke about becomes acceptable to a society. And look how these Jews push it on those sitcoms. You got homophobia, something. No, I don't want no faggots around me. I don't want them around my children. If you want to do this stuff, go off on an island somewhere and do it to yourself. No, I do not accept it.
That's right. That's right.
We have a right to. You don't have a right to do it around me. I don't want to smell your doo-doo in the air. Somebody done pull this thing out your butt. But that's where the werewolf came from. And one of the old English words for mankind is werewolf. V-E-R-E-W-L-F. Because, you know, white folks had a thing with the dog now. That's why that name in German, Wolfgang, Wolf this and Wolf that, comes from the Vikings drinking beer and chanting, woof, woof, woof. The story of Remus and Romulus. They still have it sitting in Vatican City. A big iron cast statue of a she-wolf feeding her children. They suckling on her breast. Their mama was a wolf. The word God is used in the Bible should never be used by black folks because it's the word dog spelled backwards, because one of the first deities that Anglo-Germans worshipped was a dog.
Yep.
I pinned the tail on the donkey. It looks so cute. Put the blindfold on and pin the tail on the donkey. Somebody will whip your behind. Where did that come from? There was a ritual that they would have on the Druidic New Year. On the night of Hallows Eve, Halloween, the night of the living dead, to appease the demons that was coming up out the earth, they would have a ritual where they brought out a goat that represented Satan. And new initiates to this goat and the worship of this goat as a sacrifice. They used to have human sacrifice, but they went from that to taking an initiate, blindfolding them, leading them to the goat, and they had to kiss the goat, smack, dab with a tongue kiss, a French kiss, smack, dab, up in the anus. And that is what you are symbolizing when you have your babies walking around here pinning a tail on a damn donkey. So instead of doing that, they just modified it. Just pin the tail on the donkey, honey. Now, if this don't make you leave Halloween alone, certainly nothing I can say here tonight can do it. I've done the best I can, Lord. It's all in Him.
That's right, Lord.
Let's deal with Misgiving Day a minute. Just a couple more things and I am through. I'm going to read from the book, African People and European Holidays and Mental Genocide, page 16. Also, it's on the tape. It says here that the early American whites were cruel. Connecticut whites massacred the Pequot Indians. I'm using their term now. Infants were torn from their mother's breast and hacked to pieces. The heads of the parents were chopped off and kicked about in the streets. Governor Bradford, who was a witness, said, he wrote, it was a fearful sight to see them frying in the fire, and streams of blood quenching the same, and terrible was the stench and the stink thereof, but the victory seemed a sweet sacrifice, and they gave praise thereof to God. This was the celebration of the second Thanksgiving celebration to take place in the South. In 1620, the red man saw this starving, ugly, nasty, stinking preacher get off of Mayflower. Could not feed himself. He said in the first few months only 5 or 6 sane ones was left. Everybody went crazy of that 44 men and women and children that came up off that Mayflower. They were starving to death. The red man came and brought them food. A mistake. A mistake. I don't care how mean. Oh, that's so hateful. That's a mistake. And the next year when he celebrated his Thanksgiving, he chopped off their heads, snatched the babies off the mother's breast, chopped off their heads, and kicked them about in the square. And I do believe that's where it comes from. You gouging yourself with all that food on Misgiving Day. You gotta watch the game. It's the football game. I done messed up now. I done messed with the brothers game. Now the brothers ain't even with me.
Kill the game, man. Get that game.
I'm glad my woman loved me. I wouldn't have nothing.
All them games got to die, man. Kill them games.
And you niggas talk about them games like you own the team.
Kill them games. And them niggas make up money playing them games. Kill them
I'm gonna
too.
leave it alone.
Get them games, bro. All right, Dr. Frank, say that.
And that's your whole conversation. That's why the world think you're children. When these white folks and Japanese come in and call you boy, don't get mad with them because that's what you act like. You always talking about some damn game. You don't talk about nothing serious. You're not even talking about how to make some money. What about them Eagles? What about this? What about Dallas? What about it, nigga? How much of it do you own? My team. Sit in the cold.
Crazy.
Freeze your, get tickets. Stand in the line, sleep outside.
Something wrong with me. Something wrong with me, Dr. Frank.
Oh, you're taking the fun out of everything. If that's the way you gotta have fun, yeah, I'm gonna take it.
Take it.
Because if you can't find a better way than that to have fun, you don't need to have none. You need to be doing some serious thinking. Because you don't know what fun is. Because everything you do for fun is self-destructive. Including dope yourself up and drink yourself into a stupor. Stick your head in the toilet. I had a good time. Got my head, and we'll brag about it. Got my head bad.
Something wrong with me.
That's why I call it Misgiving Day, a celebration of horrors. My mama made the best peace be upon her. My mama made the best sweet potato pie there ever was. And I love the smell. I know, look, y'all, this is hard for me. I know. I love to smell the turkey, and dressing, and all that stuff, and scent wafting through the house, and the families together. Everybody's happy. I want to be with my family and have all that just like anybody else. But I'm not going to do it on a day that is dedicated to the destruction of the red man and my enslavement. Catch me Friday, because y'all ain't going home no way until Saturday or something. Well, the family's here then. They ain't going nowhere until for Saturday. And I'll come and I'll eat with you and sing with you and have a good time. But I will fast that day. I am not going to be eating and celebrating and getting all gorged up for something that was done to me.
That's right.
Against me. No, I ain't doing that. Well, what do you do then? And we think if you don't celebrate white folks holiday, then what you gonna do?
Yeah.
If we don't do what the white man told us to do, there just ain't nothing else to do. Just like when we tell you about the fantasies of Eurocentric Christianity, then what you gonna believe in? Believe in your creator. You telling me you got to believe in a lie to believe in something? I better get off of that now. I ain't gonna have no friends when this book comes out. I know.
Yes, you are. You gonna have liberated friends.
We're gonna have to go to the mountain, baby. Let's talk for a moment about Xmas, the Merry Mess. First, I'm gonna read what Frederick Douglass had to say about it, because it is not Jesus' birthday. It is not Jesus' birthday. They don't know when Jesus' birthday was. There were 16 different days that they drew blood over, trying to figure out which was the right day, and the most powerful army at that time in the Mediterranean world, the Roman army, said it's gonna be December the 25th, and anybody disagree with it, we're gonna kick your butt with this sword. And so December 25th it was. Yeah, I can't even go into that now, because there's a whole lot more science and stuff too. Saturnalia.
Yeah.
The Roman celebration of their homosexual god, the Greek Dionysius, where they went and drank and had copulation with each other and went home and beat up their wives and took the stuff. Because that's the only way you could have children. They were trying to have it with each other, but it just wouldn't work. Elder, ancestor Frederick Douglass helped me out tonight. I'm not going to keep you much longer, but you know, we don't know how many more years we got to share this information with you, so we share with you. I know, y'all take too long. Y'all don't say that stuff when you be at one of them concerts and stuff. Man, I ain't giving you that. In a speech of 1882, Frederick Douglass relates his experiences as a slave during the Christmas season. This is what Brother Fred had to say. The days between Christmas Day and New Year's were allowed. Were what?
Allowed.
If you got to allow it for me, then it ain't mine. If you got to give it to me, then it didn't belong to me in the first place. Were allowed the slaves as holidays. During these days, all regular work was suspended, and there was nothing to do but keep fires and look after stock. We regarded this time as our own by the grace of our masters. By the what? That's how you got into Christmas. By the grace of your masters. And your masters determine how you celebrate it. Watch this. And we therefore used it, abused it as we pleased. The holidays were variously spent. The sober, industrious ones employed themselves in manufacturing corn brooms, maps, horse collars, and baskets, and some of these were very well made. Another class spent their time in hunting possums, coons, rabbits, and other game. But the majority, but the what? Spent the holidays in sports, ball playing, wrestling, boxing, running, foot races, dancing, and drinking whiskey. And the latter mode was generally most agreeable to their masters. Got to have it, because you know you don't spend some money you ain't have. I remember when brothers used to quit sisters around Xmas time, especially sisters that had children. Because men usually don't like to spend that money. You look at brothers when they walk around the store, they got this look on their face. I ain't got all this money to spend. And the women and children, that's because they geared it. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with women, I'm saying they geared to you and the children. They said they were going to do it and how to make a slave. William Lynch said, get the mind of the women, you got the mind of the children. And they take a black man and just disgrace him and beat him down in front of black women, and they'll think that he can't do nothing for them. And they'll have to come to us. Check. And black women think, and I'm speaking in generalities, but many of our women think that a black man ain't a man if he can't come up with this money on Christmas. Yeah. How many brothers do I know in jail on armed robbery beats because they had to get some money for Christmas? That's right. Because if you don't come up with some money for Christmas, you don't get none. You know that, don't you? Sisters, stop putting that pressure on him. Wouldn't you rather have that man home with you than sitting off in jail somewhere? I mean, a lot of armed robbery beats were taken care of, and I've visited with a lot of brothers who have confessed that to me. They have done that. Hurt other black people again. You can't even go shopping now because people snatching your pocketbook and carrying on. Where's the Jesus in that? Where's the joy in it? You're just trying to fulfill a hypnotic, a narcotic state of existence that an enemy has heaped on you. I don't care how much fun you say it is. There. And then, by the middle of the day, this stuff, that part of it's laying in the floor all broke up. And you say, let's have some Christmas cheer. And then that evolves into the ritual of Christmas head whipping. I could never figure out why people would get in a fight on Christmas. I couldn't understand when I was a child. How many of y'all experienced it? It was such a happy day to me. But you sitting there, you done got high now, and that liquor done made him lose control. I done spent this damn money. I didn't want to spend this money, and he go off. So a lot of brothers quit the sisters because they know New Year's Eve you can pick them up again because don't nobody want to be alone on New Year's Eve. So they'll start to pick a fight with you. 15 days left to Christmas. Oh God, you're marking them off on the calendar. 3 days left to Christmas. Oh, I got to get out. But they buy up everything. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Some of y'all and women that don't have no men got to raise these children by themselves who take on 3 jobs around this time of the year. Will buy this stuff and sneak it in the house. Sneak it in the house. Wait till the child is upstairs asleep, and then you tipping around, pulling it out, putting the bites and the this and all that together. And when the child comes downstairs, the child don't say, look what my mama bought me, look what my daddy bought me. Say, look what Santa Claus brought me. I'm trying to figure out what is a big fat white man doing getting the credit for something you did. The same as you build these churches with your blood, sweat, and tear and your chitlin dinners, and put a picture of a blue-eyed, blind-haired, lamb-holding faggot up there and give him the credit for it. I tell you, it's a mental genocide. It's insane. And you know, in Alcoholics Anonymous, the first thing you have to do is stand up and say, what? I'm alcoholic. First thing we got, all of us, including the Shakamusa Barashango, I'm sick. I am mentally ill. Because ain't nobody passed through this that is not mentally ill. I just didn't learn how to turn my craziness on my enemy. But I tell you in a minute, I'm crazy. Nutty as a fruitcake. But I won't turn it on me or my people. I turn it on my enemies. When the white man say that's a crazy nigga, that's a compliment to me. Because if I seem sane to him, something wrong with me. Because I fit into his definition of sanity. And that's insane. But then the other part is the trust that your children lose in you, and you wonder when they get to adolescence and teenage why they don't have any faith in you anymore. And one of the things is the most trusted people on earth, they find out lied to them. My mother, whom I love, peace be upon her, was one of the sweetest and most beautiful women I've ever met until the day I met my beloved wife. And that woman, I trusted her for everything. She was my grandmother. When my mother passed away when I was a year old, she took care of me. She washed white folks' dirty clothes. She cleaned their bathrooms. She did everything to make sure that I was fed and taken good care of. She was a wonderful woman indeed, and I loved her and trusted everything she said. And I was outside one time in Richard Allen City, Miss Nomet, Philadelphia, hanging on the corner. And I'm 13 years old, still talking about Santa Claus. They say, grow up. There ain't no Santa Claus. And I got in a fight with my Walkman. Eh? My homies, we got to throwing down because I said my mama wouldn't lie. There is a Santa Claus. So I got tired of getting my butt whipped. So I went home and asked the source. I said, Mama, is there a Santa Claus? And she got the ring in her hand and going through all kind of anxiety. Do y'all know anything about this? Yes. All kind of anxiety and torture. And then she had to tell me there wasn't none. And then in my heart, I couldn't believe that my mama had lied to me. That hurt me. It took me a while to get over that. But the thing is, I don't understand why she lied. Why? Why? Do we tell our children that the white man did something for them that he didn't do? Why do we tell them that he can fit his big old fat funky butt down the chimney that many of us don't even have? Two more, I'm through. I don't have much further to go. I'm gonna deal with Easter, the festival of fools. Now, you messing with, you done gone too far, Shakamusa. You messing with my Jesus now, you trying to take my Jesus from, no, man. I'm trying to make him real fight. Trying to make him your Jesus. You got somebody else's Jesus. You don't have your Jesus. That white man Jesus, that ain't yours. That's not the Jesus of history. But there's one major question I want to put out here to y'all. Would you please help me? I need help because the Shakamusa Barashango don't know everything. And I'll be the first to admit it. The one question I got to ask you about Easter is, when is it? Because I have heard preachers say, with conviction, I wish I could preach like some of these cats. I have me a big chair, I'd be doing good. Because they could go down. I wish they were saying something that made sense. will say at Easter, and it was upon this glorious moment, this Easter Sunday morning, that our Lord rose up. Thank God, somebody say, yes, rose up and said, "Oh, death, where is their sting? Grave, where is their victory?" And when he stepped out, lilies sprung up on this glorious Easter Sunday morning. And I remember saying to myself, but last year you said that on March the 31st. And this year you saying it on April the 15th. I mean, when did he get up? Don't y'all get mad now, but that's a legitimate question. When did it happen? Why you keep changing it every year? If it happened the day that you were born, they don't change your birthday every year. And the day that you leave this earth, on your program, what they call now your going away celebration, going home celebration, on your funeral program, they're going to have came here such and such a time, left here such and such a time. They're not going to change it every year. Why they do that to Jesus? And then tell me Jesus gonna be upset with me if I don't buy some new clothes. No, the hymn says, just as I am, without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me. Oh, Lamb of God, I come, but you tell me I can't come on Easter and be saved because I got some new clothes. I'm through. Oh no, I ain't gonna take 30 minutes. I'm almost through. Easter comes from the word Astra, which is a German word for the goddess of spring. The Germans were the only fools that thought rabbits laid eggs. And when Jesus resurrected, was the Easter bunny there? Laying eggs? It never stops. Was he there beating the drum? See, your young folks will ask you these questions and you tell them that they're offending God and they turn their back on you, the church and everything else. Because you don't want to take time to use your brain to deal with logic. This is illogical. This is insane. If it happened, there has to be a date that you can define. What does the Apostle Paul say? If Jesus was not crucified and risen from the grave, we of all men are most miserable. Said there's no basis for Christianity but this. But what about the other 16 crucified saviors before Jesus that is said to have died and been resurrected? You didn't know about them? And what about in the fact in the four Gospels they can't even agree on when he was crucified or when he got up out the tomb? How about the fact that the Gospel of Matthew said it was early in the morning, the Gospel of Mark said it was 9 o'clock in the morning, the Gospel of Luke said it was 9 o'clock in the morning and he was nailed to the cross, and the Gospel of John said he was still standing in court before Pilate at 12 noon. Now that can't be the word of God. God would know. He's not confused. God can tell time. You say it was in the ground how many days? Speak up, you know. But the Gospels say that before the coming of the Passover, and the Hebrews celebrated their Sabbaths from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, the 7th day of the week, not the 1st day of the week, and that they wanted to get him off the cross before the sun went down because they didn't want to pollute the Sabbath, so they had his body in the sepulcher before 6 o'clock that evening. But early in the morning on the 1st day of the week, Sunday morning, Mary comes to the tomb, and he's gone. Now the Hebrews had a 24-hour day just like the Babylonians, the Persians, the Canaanites, and everybody else in the ancient world. And so from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday is how many hours? And from sundown Saturday to early in the morning Sunday is how many hours? 12. That's 36 hours. That's not 3 days anyway. Now I'm gonna really jump into deep water. I'm just gonna commit suicide. That's what I'm gonna do right now. I got to go. Y'all got a way out of that? And I'm dealing with this in the book. Because see, black preachers are scared to deal with this. Y'all got to open your mind. Matthew say that Mary and another Mary was going to the tomb early in the morning, the first day of the week, and they were saying, now when they rolled that stone up there, that was a big stone. Child, how we gonna get that stone up from way around there? So Mary said, I don't know. But when they get there, it says an angel, you read it when you go back in Matthew 20. An angel comes out of the sky. The soldiers, the Roman soldiers fall dead by its brilliance. Ain't that what it says? Roll the stone away, sit on top of the stone. What y'all want? Say, we come for Jesus. Say, he ain't here. He's risen. Go tell his disciples. Mark says that Mary and somebody else walks up there. Say, how we gonna get this stone away? But when they get there, the stone is already rolled away, and there's a man standing in white outside. Say, what you looking for? Say, we looking for Jesus. Now he ain't here. Go tell his disciples he's risen. Luke say that Mary and Joanna come, same time of day, have the same discussion, how we gonna move the stone. When they get there, the stone is already moved away, and there's two men in white standing outside saying, he is risen. But John say, Mary, the mother of John and James, and Salome, and other women, come with the same discussion. The stone is rolled away. There's two men in white inside the sepulcher, one at the head and one at the foot. How many angels is it? Was the stone already rolled away, or did the angel come out of the sky and move it? What happened? I'll tell you what happened. They came and found the tomb empty, and Christian theology moved in rent-free. And has been going ever since. What we got believe in, everything. Believe in your Creator and in the power of the Creator in you. You don't have to believe in any of these fantasies that human beings have created and given you their idea about God. You don't have to. And remember, the first thing that most of y'all and your ancestors ever learned about Jesus that was brought here from the west coast of the motherland in captivity was first learned on the plantation. Therefore, what you are still teaching in your churches is a plantation theology. And at no time in the history of humanity has a captor taught its captives or slaves anything that would liberate them. At no time. He brought you a live picture of a white man, say this is God. Another picture of a white faggot. This is his son, Jesus. Be as much like him as you can. And you've been confused ever since. The 4th of July, America's Independence Day, and that's it. Joel A. Rogers tells us that rum was the spirit of 1776. Look, I like a barbecue like anybody else, but don't do it, Dan. Now, that's the worst day you could do it on. Well, you know, the first man to die in the Revolutionary War was Crispus Attucks. He was a chump. He'd just gotten off the plantation in Farmington, Maryland himself. What was he out there dying because one white man slapped a white boy? That wasn't none of his business. Caught a captain in his chest. And we proud of it. The only good nigga's a nigga that would die for white folk. See that in the movies all the time. Check. I don't have time to get into detail of that thing about the 4th of July. Because the reason why the 13 colonies were fighting to be freed from the British colonies is because of the high tariff that was placed on rum in the ships that the slave trade was conducted in. And they wanted to have the money from that business all to themselves. They were fighting over who were going to control black folks. That's what it was all. We hold these truths to be self-evident. And you get tears in your eyes when you hear it, don't you? Oh, say, can you see? We standing up. Man, I would not stand up for that thing. Black folks be looking at you. What's wrong with them? That's right. I'll be having my hand over my ears. That's a death blow for me. As Dizzy Gillespie, the trumpeter, used to say, peace be upon him. When I hear it, I imagine black folks hanging off trees. Let me read what old Fred had to say about it, and I'm finished. Frederick Douglass, white folks got a lot of audacity, you know. They say, Fred, we want you to come and speak on our 76th anniversary of our freedom from the British Empire. We want you to help us celebrate the greatness of America, our independence. So in 1852, Fred went, and they were sorry they invited him. Because this is what Fred said. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? Our answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days of the year, the gross injustice and cruelties to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty an unholy license. Your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgiving, with all your religious parades and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, deceptions, and pious hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There's not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States to this very hour. Go where you may, search where you will, roam through all the monarchies and despotisms of the old world. Travel through South America, search out every abuse, and when you have found the last, lay your facts side by side of the everyday practices of this nation, and you will say with me that for revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without rival. African people and European holidays are mental genocide. This has been one person's perspective of holidays from an African-centered historical reality. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry I spoiled it for you. But there is Kwanzaa, there is many other things that you can celebrate.
Let's give it up. What's up, brothers and sisters? Let's give it. It got to be louder than that.
Wow. Thank you, bro. I'm just talking with no sound. No sound at all. Good gracious. Oh man. Thank you, Jamila. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was just talking my head off as if I was saying something. But yeah, I was just saying, Dr. Barashango, how do you feel about what you just heard? I put the link in so you can copy the link in the chat if you want to come on in. If you want to come on into the stream, into the live stream, you can come on in and we can have a conversation. So how do you feel about European holidays? How do you feel about Kwanzaa? Some people don't do Kwanzaa, how do you feel about that? So, if you want to come on in, we're willing to stay around for a little bit, with my people, I just wanted y'all to get that classic though. See, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of the elders, Dr. Barashango, may his soul rest in peace, Baba Tunji, Dr. Patricia Newton, who was here in Baltimore also, Del Jones, Dr. Laila Africa, Bobby Dick Gregory. The list goes on and on. A lot of my elders ain't here no more. The people that I came, Dr. Ben, people that I brought the town before, Dr. John Henry Clark, never got to bring him to town, almost brought him to town. But a lot of these people not here no more. It's a circle of life. And so, we stepping up, but we got to keep this information going. I feel honored and privileged that I can keep the message of Dr. Ashaka Musa Barashango. He still speaks, even though he's in the realm of the ancestors. So I feel honored that we have these archives. You ain't gonna find nobody with more archives so far as in the conscious community, so far as different lecturers, than you find what Reality Speaks. You ain't gonna find that nowhere. I ain't bragging, but I'm just being real. We've been doing this 26 years. So with the stuff I'm gonna unleash to y'all, you want to be involved in this with this page, helping the page grow, so we can continue to get this. We got people, like you said, that's been for years putting our lectures out, buying our lectures from us, and putting it on page, getting money from our lectures, just downloading our lectures, But we lose these great scholars like Dr. Barashango and all these people. We lose them, and now we got a new age of young scholars that's here. And it's hard to adjust to it because they different. They ain't like these other scholars. See, when I was young, when you hear it from the beginning, Dr. Shaka Musa Barashango say, Jabari called me 100 times, and I did, because I was serious about it. I was like, man, we young, we don't really got much money. We're going to do the best we can. We've been putting our money together, and it was the spirit that they felt. And even some that asked for more, and we didn't have it. Sometimes we didn't quite meet it. They didn't beat up on us. They're like, man, we just love what y'all doing, and we got better at, coming up with the money and saving our money and doing all those different things. But it was tough. And so when we didn't have, like huge honorariums to give people, but people still loved us anyway, And, they said, man, I feel y'all spirit. So I'm coming, I'm there. And whenever I need them, they there, So I call people today, different scholars and lecturers who just ready to go. And y'all know we got the, the scholars, right there, ready for us to grab up, because there's a long relationship and there's a trustworthy relationship that we have in our community. So, that's what it is, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So, I appreciate, thanks for those, Sister Star and Jamal and Brother Jamal, Jamal that made the donations. Anybody else want to drop free donations up in there, go ahead, because we taking this to a greater cause. We're gonna be with y'all with the Bonded by the Blade. We've been doing that. Bonded by the Blade is dedicated for barbers, but it's still dealing with the same content, Reality Speaks and stuff. And sometimes we'll be coming live from here, but sometimes we'll be coming live from the barbershop that we actually gonna come from, and we're gonna be cut. So that's gonna be nice the way we're gonna do that this year. So y'all just continue to come in, subscribe, so when we come on, y'all here. Anybody got anything? Anybody want to join on? I put the link. Anybody need the link? That can't get the link, that want to come in. Because other than that, we're gonna start wrapping up. We're gonna start wrapping up for the night. But man, we really appreciate y'all for coming in and hanging with Reality Speaks tonight. And we're gonna be doing this a lot. be doing this a lot, you know what I'm saying? But y'all, the next day, y'all get it, y'all share it, you know, and, you know, send people to the YouTube page. And, you know what I'm saying? Tell them, you know what I mean? You ain't got, you know what I mean? If you ain't got it, you know, hey, just subscribe. That's helping us out right there. So we can get those numbers up, get the numbers up. That's all. And unity is strength. And, you know, man, we paved the way out here with Reality Speaks with a lot of these lectures, a lot of information that's out here. So now all we doing is just coming back into the information age and like saying, hey, look, let us get our spot out here in social media and let's make this thing happen. So y'all help us out because we, you know what I mean? Like I said, we came in early, but then we stepped off and, you know, and now we getting it built back up. All right. So we thank y'all for joining us and hanging out with us tonight. You know, Gandhi once again. Happy Kwanzaa. And we see y'all like in a few days, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be safe out there. Be safe out there. We don't know what that is out there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Real, fake, whatever. However, there's something going on in our community. So y'all be safe out there. You know what I mean? Protect yourself. Eat plenty of, you know what I mean, herbs and spices and black seed oil and sea mosses and all that other kind of stuff. All right. Love y'all out there, family. Love y'all for real. And y'all have a good one. So I'm gonna sign off. Peace.